Good evening and welcome to this presentation on the IEP process. Um, the first thing the parents should know in the IEP process is that it is very important for the to have open communication and an understanding between the parent and the teacher and the IEP team, what is going on and what is best for the student so that they get everything that they need to gain a regular and normal education as any able-bodied student at their same grade level. Um, the parent and student involvement in an IEP process is very important. Without the parent's consent, nothing can be done in an IEP meeting. The child's involvement, I mean, the child is the main point of the IEP process. That being said, teachers need to make sure that they're documenting what's happening in the classroom, what achievements they've made, what achievements they haven't made. Anything that will give some type of baseline data for the IEP team to come up with this individual's IEP is important in this meeting. And again, I cannot stress enough how much communication between parents and teachers to the IEP team about the student, how important that is in this process. Referrals. Now, when starting with a referral, it is best that either a teacher talks to the parent or the parent talks to the school or maybe even a school psychologist or a school counselor informs the parents on exactly what they think is best in the child's interest. Now, the referral process, um, it it that's where we get our first real glance at what legally has to happen in the IEP process. Now, when a student is referred to have an IEP to see if they qualify for disability services, a written letter has to be sent out to the parent prior to the meeting, and then that letter has to be returned by the parent saying that they consent to the meeting. Then the actual documentation that has been collected from counselors or teachers for the student can be assessed and put together so that an IEP team and teachers can come together and have this IEP meeting with the family. Now, that being said, this all happens relatively quickly within 30 days. Once the referral is out, the meeting must happen. If not, another referral has to be resent out. And the student should receive said services or whatever the student needs to succeed after the IEP once they've been evaluated and seen eligible to receive these services immediately. So let's talk about a little bit about the evaluation process. So when it comes to the evaluation process, students um, should be tested. There are multiple tests that schools give to students to figure out at what level they academically are at, mentally they are at, and what they can do physically. I mean, if we're in a classroom and someone has a mobile disability, um, can they push themselves in a chair? Can they get in and out of their chair by themselves? If it's somebody that, let's say, has a learning disability, um, can they read? What is their reading level? um, so just in general, that those are the type of things that are with the evaluation process. Once a child is deemed eligible, they are given, the IEP team will sit down and write out what services they believe this child needs. Whether that be a one-on-one, whether that be extra time on assignments, and maybe the last one of the last resorts, and I think this is something that most parents don't realize, is that the special ed classroom is one of the last resorts. Students do have the right to be in a regular classroom, and that's what this IEP and process is trying to make sure that a child is given everything they need to be a normal student and have that normality that every other student has when going to school. Um, there are a lot of components with the IEP, um, and when it comes to the eligibility for services, um, the development and placement, um, and all in all, what the parents agree is best for their child. This is just a snapshot of what the IEP process is, and just gives individuals a chance to get a brief understanding of what it takes for a parent to agree to services and what teachers think best for that given child. That being said, thank you for giving me this time in this presentation. Have a great night.